It'll be 1 to go this time by. Coming to the green, buddy, coming to the green. Let's go get him. Go, 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 go!
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
Jeff Gluck from NASCAR Scene. Steve, I understand about the substance abuse part of it, but does that mean that there's certain drugs that, you know, maybe steroid type drugs that are okay to take as long as they're not being abused, you know, where maybe like in cycling or something like that there would be like a zero tolerance if anything is detected in the system at all, that would be forbidden, but this is okay under certain circumstances as long as it's not that what the experts define as being, you know, like a red flag type level?
Yeah, I think that's fair. The way we'll rely on it is if it's medically prescribed and we don't think it affects the safety on the track, that is something that we would look at. So I think, you know, we do test for steroids. That is new to our test. That'll be for over-the-wall crew members as well. But we'll rely on Dr. Black and Aegis on that.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. Steve, is the reason for the baseline testing at the start of the season so that incidents such as like the Hornaday incident where you will have something to look at other than just somebody filling out a form saying this is what I've been taking? Do you have some sort of baseline in order to look at any future tests that come in for that person?
Yeah, I think, Jim, there's kind of two parts to that answer. What I think gets lost a little bit is even without this new policy right now, the drivers are required to let us know what they're taking. So that's kind of the first part. And then the baseline test is really with any new or amended substance abuse policy, it's the right thing to do to kind of it's basically taking a sampling of where you believe you're at today, taking a look at it, and then implementing your random tests. It's not something that we have to do every year in terms of a baseline, but we'll start out, see where we're at, and then through the random testing process, see if we need to institute that part again in 2010.
Bob Margolis, Yahoo Sports. Steve, could you explain a little bit about any mechanisms in place to help rehabilitate a driver or a crew member who may have been caught up in the substance abuse policy through really no direct desire of their own? And an example might be, and what we've seen recently is someone who'd been injured in work and took pain pills to relieve the pain and found themselves unwittingly addicted to those pain pills and then became further involved in other drugs due to that. Is there a mechanism in place to help them rehabilitate themselves?
I think part of that's still in the process, Bob, but I think Dr. Black is going to be available to all of our competitors. Part of what we've done today is gotten out all of his information, all of Aegis's information, really to start out for kind of those upfront conversations of, hey, how's this going to work, what's involved, and from there also lay out how they could be of assistance in the case that we did have someone who had a positive test. But I think we've also laid out a pretty good program in the past with Dr. Black with reasonable efforts and kind of a pathway of how to come back into the sport in the event that we do have an issue with any one of the athletes.
Bob, to your point, we have also had instances where Dr. Black has laid out a path for a driver who has been suspended to return to NASCAR. We have had instances of that in the past, and we will continue to do that.
Is there an acknowledgement, and it may sound strange, that not all substance abuse is intentional and sometimes it becomes just a matter of a course of treatment for somebody that they can get caught up in that web? Is there an acknowledgement of that?
I don't think so, because I think of the safety aspects of the sport. I mean, you know, we would still have to take action if we know someone has failed a test. Obviously, we're not thrilled with that, but from a safety aspect and the nature of our sport, we would have to take action, and that's where it comes into what Jim talked about is laying out an appropriate plan to bring that person back into the sport as soon as possible.
Yeah, hi, Steve. Chuck Dibbler, Express Times in Easton. Sort of a question, I guess the two of them go together. 3 strikes and out is like a popular little thing. I don't know if baseball had 2 strikes and out, would everything be 2 strikes and out? But comparing to other sports, did you consider out before 3? I mean, you know, since the nature of especially drivers, so many other people affected by it and fans and stuff like that. And when you say random in that case, if you see some sort of, does random include if you see erratic behavior, can you deal with that right away, or is it just going around, well, we'll do this guy today and that guy? If you could answer those.
Sure. We reserve the right today. If any one of our officials sees a driver that we think has a problem, we can test them immediately. The reasonable suspicion clause stays in effect for our policy, has been in effect, and will remain so. So the random aspect of the program for 09 is one part, but we also have the reasonable suspicion that stays in place 24 hours a day when we're at the racetrack or wherever we may have cause to have suspicion. On your other question, go ahead on the 3 strikes. Again, I think stated up front that there could be a circumstance for one and you're out. We realize that the nature of this program is safety first. That's safety for the competitors and the fans and everyone involved in the sport. So we would never rule out the fact that someone could be thrown out after one time, but I think we've been pretty clear and we'd have a pretty strong record of standing behind our penalties. But we also want to provide a pathway to come back into the sport in the event that, what Bob talked about in some circumstances that would dictate that.
Yes, Steve. Steve,
just real quick, Ramsey brought up any violation for us different from other sports, immediate suspension from the sport. So if you bring up baseball and you're suspended a couple games or not at all, I think we've got a pretty strong record that any violation and you're out until our experts tell you that it's okay to come back in. So sorry, Dave.
We still have a zero tolerance for substance abuse.
Sorry, Dave.
Yes, Steve. How many people will be tested each weekend? Do you have a number on that? And also, if you don't have a list of banned substances you're testing for, some of these tests are specific for certain substances. What will you be doing to make sure you cover everything each week? That can get pretty expensive.
No, it can get pretty expensive. Any substance abuse test that we'll do, it'll be broad and sweeping and comprehensive. Normally, the categories that you can look at are any narcotic that could be abused, beta blockers, and steroids. Those are kind of the 3 key areas that we'll look at. But beyond that, we've got the capability to test for any substance. So, David, to your point, it'll be a pretty thorough test when you look at what we could have done versus what we're going to do. And the last aspect was, we will. It's based on a ratio, and it's on ages. So we can expect upwards of probably anywhere from 12 to 14 individuals to be tested per series per weekend. We'll have separate pools for the drivers. Probably on average about 2 drivers per series will be tested each week. And again, that's all random. Someone could be tested once. Someone could be tested, way more than that. It'll be all computer generated and run by Aegis.
Claire B. Lang, XM Satellite Radio. I have 2 questions. The first one is, what was the reaction of the competitors in general, concerns that they might have as you addressed them, and have been speaking with them around the garage?
I think for the most part, and no secret, you've read a lot of the comments even prior to coming to Dover that we believe we've got a very clean sport, and we also think that the competitors are very supportive of the new policy. As with any new program, there'll be questions about how it will work, what will you be testing for, and what we did today was just lay out the basics of the program and let them know that we'll have people on site to discuss where we're going with the program, and then lay out kind of a full booklet for them to go through the policy moving forward. But I think all in all, very positive.
The other question is that NASCAR has always said that they've had the best, the most strict policy. Why now is it important for a sport such as NASCAR to change and add this? Is it because of the media attention, because of other sports changing? What's the reason now to change to this type of policy?
I think it really goes to everything evolves, and we're all about safety and really to maintain the integrity and safety of the fans. We needed to do this to make our policy even stronger. We think it's the right thing to do. Talk to a number of the competitors in the garage who obviously were for this as well, and just think it's the right program at the right time for us to put into place.